And as we mentioned in that interview, President Obama did talk about a meeting today with top executives from some of Wall Street's biggest banks, a politically diverse group of unlikely allies in efforts to get Congress to raise the nation's borrowing limit, despite opposition by some to funding the president's health care plan. Here's what Lloyd Blankfein of Goldman Sachs had to say after that meeting.
Individual members of our group represent every point on the political spectrum. But the one thing they have in common is you can litigate these policy issues, you can relitigate these policy issues in a political forum, but they shouldn't use the threat of causing the U.S. to fail on its obligations to repay its debt as a cudgel.
Now, Eamon Javers was at the White House before and after those Wall Street titans met with President Obama, and that's where he joins us now. So, Eamon, when you talk to those bank leaders, what do they think that they accomplished in their meeting with the president today? What did they tell you?
Well, they came out after the meeting and they said that they agreed with the president that they do not want to see any breach of the debt ceiling here by the United States coming up to that October 17th deadline. But one of the interesting storylines here today going into this meeting was or was not Jamie Dimon of JP Morgan going to appear here today at the White House? Because remember, just last week he was negotiating with the Department of Justice for a potentially massive settlement of alleged wrongdoing by JP Morgan. Would a banker who is negotiating such a record settlement show up for a meeting with the president? He did today, and I had a chance to ask him on the way in whether or not this was an awkward moment for him. Take a listen. What do you make of this moment where you were here last week negotiating on a major settlement for JP Morgan, and now today you're here to talk to the president about a political matter? Is that awkward timing?
No, not for me.
Down the way, what role can they play in these current negotiations and to help the president and the country?
Well, look, it's sort of a coalition of the willing here in Washington right now. The president is rallying anybody he can to go up and make that case, particularly people he thinks that the Republicans might be receptive to. And that's definitely the case with some of these Wall Street executives, although not all of them are necessarily Republicans themselves. John Harwood, in his interview, asked the president the same question, whether it was awkward or not to be meeting with Jamie Dimon at the same time all this settlement talk is going on with JP Morgan. And the president said, look, I'll meet with any CEO I can to help make this case.
Well, that's a very interesting development. Thank you so much, Eamon. Eamon Javers reporting from the White House.